For me, a lot of it starts with doodling, with just doing drawings, getting things on paper, and these are not drawings that you would use to build a piece, but at least they give you a sense of what a former shopmate of mine called the gesture. What is the piece supposed to do? What does it look like? How is it going to feel? One of my blessings is that I can't really draw. So what happens often with me is little lines get into these things that are there because I can't draw, but then they do have some kind of meaning on second thought. When I go back and look at them, I see something that's more curved than I originally intended, or I intended a straight line, I got a curved line, then things can flow out of that. 99% of what you put in here is never going to see the light of day, but you start to germinate ideas, and you start to get a sense of, this would be a fun thing to do. This is what, I want to get absorbed in doing. It's helpful to just kind of have that sort of reservoir of ideas, of solved problems before you go into it. So once I'm confident that what I put in the sketchbook is what I want to do, then I go to a full-scale drawing where I try to work out a lot of the details. Once I have this part of it done, then I start looking at lumber. And that's a big part of making a piece work. I usually buy lumber in flitch form, which means all the boards come from the same log. And what I do is start going through the boards to figure out what parts of the boards go in what part of the piece. If you look at this board, you can see that it was sawn a little bit off center. The center of the board is actually right here. It goes like this.
That's the center of the tree?
The center of the tree. And then you have these sort of flames coming up like this, where it's all figured. And then here it's starting to get very straight. So I would look at this stalk right here for straight elements in a piece. Either they're rails or stiles or whatever, but it's got to accent the straightness. And you don't want to put in something like this and then cut it off in a piece that's supposed to be straight. It just jars your eye. You really should try to make the figure in the wood work with a piece, and vice versa. It works both ways. So for this desk I have, I know that the shape is like, it's like this. So I'm going to look for a part of the board where this line gets accented with a grain. And if you look at here, this starts to flow in that direction. So I would think about making this piece, somewhere in here. The point is that you think about where you're putting pieces, and you'll be richly rewarded for it, because it does make the piece hold together much better. It's very simple, but a lot of people don't do it, and you see it. Once you start to do it that way, and you look at pieces that aren't built that way, why did you use that there? It comes out. There's something about it that I like, and I haven't quite plumbed that reason. Why do you really like this? And I'd rather keep my brain out of it, frankly. I'd rather just keep it more a matter of what my eye tells me, and sort of more what my gut tells me. I think there's a fairly strong emotional component, is that you just like the shape. Why it's there, I'm not quite sure why. There's always a little bit of fear that I can't do it. But I see that as part of the process. You work through that, and and so far I've gotten it. This piece actually came from 2 book-matched boards, and you can see that this is the center line, and one is a mirror image of the other. But visually, you get a sense of a whole. I delivered one of these to a woman in New York who has one of my cabinets. It was interesting to see how she used it. New Yorkers live in these little tiny apartments, and they just use all the space. And that's how the cabinet was used. All the space in the cabinet was used. Even sticky notes from the inside of the cabinet. And I thought, that's great. I really do like to see and hear about how my pieces are doing. The biggest thrill is just the independence that I have. That I can sort of structure my day the way I want to. Every part of this piece is in some ways a part of me. I alone am responsible for how it looks and how it works. And I think that's what I like a lot.